Peace, family. Welcome to the Aetherium, home of cosmic wellness, a spiritual practice that is based on a shadow work framework called spiritual abolition. And if you didn't already see my threads post about it, my threads about it, if you will, I already did part one of the Intergalactic crystal ball on Luigi Mangione. To just find out like some boilerplate information and details, like foundational information about like what is happening with the adjuster, what is happening with Luigi. I'm not gonna get into that. Go follow us on Threads. I also posted it on my TikTok. But one thing that I saw is that his mom had observed concerning behavior since July 2023, and especially since he stopped posting online summer of 2024. So I'm interested in finding out what exactly was that behavior, and also I want to know what really was their relationship like. Like, what was their relationship like? Why was he estranged from them? All that good stuff. And also, why is it that she felt like she could see him doing that? You know, why she could see him doing what he was accused of? Because by all other accounts, I mean, I think, you know, let's get into it. I think that they probably did a very good job of hiding anything that was untoward, that was like unattractive, that was going to make them look bad. No F's given in reverse at the bottom of the deck. Yeah, they care very, very much about their social status, and it's because they worked really hard for it. The grandfather, who, not Louis, but Nicholas Mangione Sr., was a self-made multimillionaire, and that means something different for people of European descent in America than it does for people of Black or Indigenous descent or people of color. But for Italians, it also means something different. For Italians, for Sicilians, it means something different than what it does to like Anglo-Saxon descended. So, you know, I do think that and also like where they're from, I'm sure that there's some like Italian community, of course, but, you know, I just have to say, like, as someone who grew up in Maryland, that area, Baltimore especially, it's a lot of Irish people and people of Scottish descent. It's not a lot of Italians. So I do want to say that I do feel like his grandfather actually did work really hard to make it in life, and to make a better life for his family. And as somebody who, you know, is second generation of wealth, I think it was still precarious with his parents, with his dad, I'll say. But it seems like his mom maybe like was more of a classy, like kind of used to that kind of lifestyle. Because everybody's asking like, where's Luigi's parents? Where's Luigi's parents? Yeah, I want to know more about them too. I hadn't been watching the news about it because I really am not interested in hearing people, you know, protect capitalism and act like this is like okay. Because the hypocrisy around who people are okay with, being unalived and who people are like have a problem with it is just so disgusting and dehumanizing that I haven't wanted to really look into that. But enough editorializing, let's get into it. So I get the sense that his mom was kind of always like a bit of a princess. And I get the sense that his dad felt like he really had to show up and perform and do well. But, you know, they're Sicilian and they're wealthy. Second generation of wealth, like I said. And I think that like they just knew that they had to be on their P's and Q's, and they just knew that they had to like be, they definitely had to be like better than the rest. You know what I mean? Um, because you know how the colony works and the stratification works, and that's real, and we have to admit to that. Stratification of like somebody who, you know, does whose wealth doesn't go back to the Mayflower or something like that. Especially being ethnic in terms of like being Sicilian. I think that like his family really wants to present themselves as being perfect with no F's given at the bottom of the deck. Like they're not playing. This is not a normal family. I mean, they have Nino, who is a Republican delegate in Maryland. Like they are successful business people, successful business family, and everybody who has met Luigi has nothing but good things to say about him. And I also feel that like with what he was going through, I definitely feel because he's a compassionate, empathetic person, he recognized that even if he was struggling, like he was struggling way less than a lot of the other people who had this condition. And probably when he was doing research about the condition, he was just like, honestly, like, this is so messed up, and like people are not able to get like these kinds of surgeries. And I think that he just like became radicalized by that. But I by no means do I think that he was ever somebody who like was not an empathetic, caring person. I think he definitely seems like somebody who like if he saw something that was not okay going on would probably like, you know, not participate in it. But I do think that like sometimes, yeah, he wasn't okay with it, is what I will say. So voodoo at the bottom of the deck, I don't know what that could possibly mean. This was definitely his choice. This is something that he chose to do, is what I'm picking up. I already picked that up though, daydreams. So yeah, they really are a family that they like had high hopes and aspirations for him, and he was achieving those things. But I do think that like once he stopped achieving those things and became, what I'm picking up is his mom is narcissistic, like a bit of a covert narcissist. Like I said, she's like she grew up like as a princess type. Even if she weren't wealthy, like she grew up as like a princess type. And like I'm seeing Regina George, to be honest with you. So I do think that she was wealthy. Um I'm even feeling like debutante type vibes, but whether or not this was at like a major scale, and I also feel like there was encouragement to marry her because it was a good look for him. Oh my God, I get no F's given in the direct position. I get manifest in reverse, which I got yesterday too. Resistance, beauty, whatever, and get tested. Bottom of the deck, anxiety in the reverse. Like I said yesterday, he really is just like, I did what I had to do because it was the right thing to do. Um, yeah, the Zanino family was also a prominent family. So these people are political, obviously, because Nino is in politics. Like these people are political, they're movers and shakers. They are more Machiavellian than they seem. Just because they have a big family and they're Italian and da 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 da, like, does not, like, I'm, this is alleged. This is for entertainment purposes only. I'm just interested and want to know. But what I'm picking up on is because in this People magazine article, the dad, they say that the grandfather had a response ready for when people would ask him if he had a response ready for when people would ask him how he made his money, and he would say, listen to this. This is actually crazy. Now that I'm reading it back again, this is what he would say. Ask me what family I belong to. I told them I belong to the Mangione family, the Mangione family of Baltimore County. I feel like when someone asked how he was able to afford a high-profile country club he purchased in the 1970s. That's what he would say in 1995. They're trying to make a name for themselves, and they're not showing up for him because they don't want to be implicated. They don't want to be implicated in what he has allegedly done. Because if he did that, it's going to be a bad look for all of them, right? So they don't want, get this out of here. I don't want to see that. They don't want it to like come off badly on them. They're like, we don't know what happened. And they're going to keep hush, most likely. Okay, they're going to keep hush. And people are saying, oh, she said that it was him. She said that she didn't know if it was him, but she could see him doing it. So she didn't tell them that it was him. I want to point that out. I do think that, like, what I'm picking up, I see resistance, beauty, like, when he was in a dark night of the soul caused by the pain that he was experiencing, that's what radicalized him. And he was like, I don't fucking care. Like, this is not okay. Okay? Like, and that is when he joined the resistance. He's always a loving person. But, like, honestly, if you truly are a lover, you're going to become a warrior at some point. Like, living in a death machine, you're gonna, you know? Yeah, so beauty, whatever, and get tested, I'm not too sure about yet, but let's keep going. Anxiety in the bottom of the deck, he's like fine with it, you know what I mean? So yeah, I feel like once he started going dark, his mom was not really supportive, and she was just like, I definitely feel like she was always really hard on him anyway, but he was like needing a maternal figure, and she wasn't able to be that to him. I'm seeing the Black Madonna. He needed a maternal figure, and she wasn't able to be that to him because she is someone who is very selfish, is what I'm picking up. Like, yeah, people are gonna probably be like, no, like, you know, she was concerned, she reached out to the authorities. Yeah, but like after the whole summer, I don't know, like 2 months after they hadn't heard from him, she reached out, which is a long time, actually, I think. So there's that. But also, like, you can still be a covert narcissist. Like, so many mothers are in emotionally incestuous relationships with their sons, like, and daughters. They're in it with their children. So this is a big, big problem that is a big part of why, like, people can't get married these days or stay married, because people have really unhealthy relationships to their parents, and it's like unresolved. But the way that she is as a woman is like been normalized, and it's actually not okay because she's a very, you know, unempathetic person, is what I'm picking up. Yeah, and I think he got like to a point. I picked this card yesterday too, Three of Pentacles in the reverse. He just was like, he couldn't continue contributing to a lie, is what I'm hearing. I don't know if I made this clear that I think that they got the money from the mafia. I don't know if I made that clear. And I know that like that's maybe gonna sound like I'm being like prejudiced or something, but I'm actually not. I'm really serious. I didn't even want to say that. So with beauty and whatever, I do think that he just sees it as like he is, first of all, this is actually for him. He had to do this to clear his karma. Like, he had to do this. Okay, so this is what he had to do, and he's okay with what he had to do, is what I'm picking up. To set the scales, to set the scales out of balance is what I'm hearing. Beauty and whatever, like, he understands that his role in the revolution, he understands his role in the revolution more than like you could ever know, is what I'm hearing. I'm hearing this Cobra Starship song. I'm not one for love songs, the way you do 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 do. What song is that? No, it's not that. Um, no. What song is this? Oh, the world has its shine, but I would drop it on a fucking dime. Oh my God. Oh my God. And what's also crazy is that like so many pop punk bands are from Baltimore. Anyways, the world has its shine, but I would drop it on a dime for you. Hold on at whatever you. That's so. Oh my God. That's crazy. That's literally the message that I'm getting is like, I'm not one for love songs. The way I'm living makes you feel like giving up, but you don't. And I want everything for you, the disappointed, because you've been left behind and the world hasn't shined. I would drop it on a dime for you. Hey yo, and whatever it takes, I'm gonna make my way home. Hey yo, we can turn our backs on the past and start over. Not long ago, I gave up hope, but you came along. You gave me something I could hold on to. Oh, oh, and I want you. That's crazy. Oh my God. Yo, this is like the most on point friggin', I don't want to say the F word. Freaking, what is it? Channeled song. I don't even, I'm like, my mind is blown. This is from Cobra Starship's 2007 album, Viva La Cobra. It is the album that like got them like really famous. So all the scene kids know it came before Good Girls Go Bad or Hot Mess. That album's actually called Hot Mess. The fact that he would even know these songs is crazy to me. But yeah, like the way I'm living makes you feel like giving up, but you don't, and I want everything for you. Beauty, what I was saying is like, yeah, it's worth it if it means that the world becomes a better place. I think that he's a deeply misunderstood person, and he's been deeply misunderstood for a long time. They don't understand why he has become more radical, and they can't accept like his belief system. And when I say belief system, I don't think that he's like red pilled. And what you have to understand is like a lot of Gen Z are much more conservative, but like I think that they have seen from millennials that like there is a threshold of going too far in liberalism. You know what I mean? Like, I will give this example, which feels really like prescient for the time that I'm recording this. I am a baby millennial, and my siblings are elder millennials. In fact, my brother is the first year of millennials. So he actually skews Gen X. And I'm a baby millennial. I'm 2 years before the cutoff, and Luigi is 2 years after the cutoff. So I grew up with a boomer parents, and elder millennial siblings basically raising me. And what that meant was like, I'm hearing this is a fast life. We are on a crash course. This is our life that everybody asked for. This is a fast life. We are on a crash course, which is from what you think I rap for to push it rap for, but I know if I stay stunting, all these hoes only gonna want one thing. I can spend my whole life goodwill hunting. Only thing that's good is it's good when I'm coming. She had an ass that'll swallow up the G string, and up top, two B sings. I'm feasting off the Riesling, beasting off the Riesling. That song's been coming up a lot for me lately, and I don't really want to get into it, but what I do want to say is like, yeah, it's not that he's like red pilled. It's like that he's awake and he's aware. The problem is that when people see like, okay, when people see, especially like Gen Z, and just younger generations of men who are more conservative, like they're not just like neoliberal. That's what it is. And I have said this so many friggin' times. I've said this because I grew up in Maryland. I fucking know what is it like. I know what it's like. Like, if you're not neoliberal, then they're like, oh, you're red pilled. If you think for yourself, then they're like, oh, you're red pilled. So to criticize neoliberal ideals, despite the fact that like they're not doing anything for anyone either, they're not solving any of the issues either. Because he did what he did with the kind of tool that he used to do it, they're going to say, oh, he's red pilled because he doesn't believe in, anti-pew laws or whatever. There are actually a lot of people who are not red pilled, who are not conservative, Republicans, not white nationalists, who don't believe in that either, actually. Who do not believe in stripping away people's constitutional protections, because those laws were made to not protect us from each other, but to protect us from the government. And to not understand that, like, really, honestly, I feel like this person is an anti-fascist. I feel like he's an anti-oligarch, yo. Like, that's what I feel. And I do believe that what happened was he was starting to become more and more radicalized. I'm looking at the resistance card right now. He was becoming more and more radicalized, and 1909 was on the clock when I looked at the screen just now, and obviously 1919 right now, but that was like whatever. 1909, which is it comes down to one. He was becoming more and more radicalized, and his family was like feeling really weird about that. So at first I feel like if he had seemed more liberal before, they were kind of just like but like the more radicalized he became, he started saying things that seemed a little bit more aligned with conservative values. They're Italian, so you already know that they're conservative. And this is the thing, like most people who come from an immigrant background, like, yeah, first or second generations may be more radical, but like by and large are really quite conservative. Like Italians, very conservative. Africans, very conservative. Like Russians, like people from immigrant backgrounds are generally very, very conservative. The Latin community, extremely conservative. You know what I mean? So I think that that's also like something that a lot of like neoliberals do not understand, and quote unquote liberals don't understand, because they're actually very ignorant a lot of the time, and don't really actually have a conception of what's going on around them. And that's something that like, you know, around the election, the day after the election, there were Democrat analysts who were or pundits really, who were talking about this. And I remember one distinctly, I think that she was on like maybe MSNBC, and she was like, they don't, like, the Democrats in part lost because they don't even understand the people that they're talking to. And like they're not even bothering to try and understand them. They're not even bothering to try to relate to them. And that's what it is. So yeah, people are gonna think that he's like a red-pilled person, but he's not actually, is what I'm picking up. Like, he became more radicalized, and like this is like some very Marxist shit. Because if we're being honest, we never saw any of the red pill people doing anything like this at all. So like, they hate politicians, but they haven't done anything useful for anybody. Hierophant in reverse and the Six of Cups in reverse. Six of Cups is a card of charity. Yeah, I think it's really important to understand that the red pill people are not sovereign people. But when people were commenting on Luigi in the beginning, they were like, oh, like his ideologies are all over the place. Like, what is he, red or blue? It's like, I'm a sovereign being. I'm a sovereign being. I have my own thoughts and feelings about things. I come to my own conclusions. So as he, like, that, at first they could agree with some of the things that he was saying, and confirmation burp, they were, yeah, he was going through an awakening. And, you know, people have commented that, like, the recovery process from the surgery that he had, like, especially because it involves opioids, could have caused him to experience psychosis. And it could also be spiritual psychosis, but I think that, like, I would be hesitant to use that phrase. I would be hesitant to use that phrase because I will say this much. The path of the shaman is marked by trauma. And it is actually, trauma is the initiator of the shamanic ranks. Okay? Like, so I think that he knew very well what he was doing. I don't think that it was by accident. And, but we're here to talk about his family and like why they're not there and like what was concerning his mom and why she thought that. And yeah, that's why, because, he was becoming more and more radical. And the thing is, I think that she maybe thought that he, so yeah, uh, I think that honestly, I want to say something because I grew up in Maryland, and I grew up going, like, I remember this kid I went to high school with who was Italian, but I think he may have been like more like Northern Italian. I don't think he was Sicilian. I think he was like from mainland Italy. And, but definitely think he was a fucking Republican. I definitely think so. Um, and that's the thing, even though like Maryland's usually quote unquote blue, like you're never gonna really know who's a Republican or not, just because like when I was growing up, nobody really talked about politics. But I now recognize the microaggressions that led me to understand like that a lot of the people like, and I also overheard people say and was told by some of their kids that they were Republican. So a lot of the white people that I knew growing up were Republican, but we just didn't know that. And yeah, I just need to put that out there. And also like, a lot of the white people that I knew were really, really fucking racist. I came to find out when like people of color or people that they did not perceive as being of color were around. like the kind of shit that they would say and do when they thought that they were around people that they were safe to do that in front of. Like, it was crazy. You know what I mean? And I will say, you know, this person, I mean, they know about, I'm sure that they know and understand about how healthcare works, right? Class treachery, class treachery. That's why this, like, he passed his karmic test, boo. My G, Luigi passed his karmic test. And this is what I've been saying, and this is what I've been saying all along. If you don't understand, if you don't understand, grok this, boo. If you are a person of privilege, I'm a person of immense privilege. It doesn't matter. Like, my karma is part of the reason why I've had the experience that I've had, but I needed to see what I have seen. I needed to experience firsthand what I have experienced to do the work that I was born to do. So I could really be of service the way that I'm supposed to be of service. I'm sure that the same is true for him. You know, those of us who have tremendous privilege and it comes at the expense of others, it is our duty. It is our job. Every moment of our lives is a crossroads moment where we must choose, will we atone or will we continue perpetuating this abuse? Okay? And that's what he like says in his manifesto. And moving forward, you know, evidently I'm the first one to face it with such brutal honesty. And that's what it is. That's what it is. But this is not about like, this isn't about me encouraging anything. I'm just saying abstractly that that is, you know, him holding accountable that which has, you know, given him a position of privilege. And that same position of privilege is the reason why he is still even alive right now. You know, and why he's able to get the kind of reaction from the American people that he is currently enjoying. But do know, I don't think that he would be red-pilled if he were red-pilled. He would not have, what is it, a taper fade? I don't know anything about men's haircuts. I'll be real with you. But I do know black men's haircuts. I do know those. I know what a Caesar is, obviously. But I can tell the difference between a black man's haircut. And if somebody gets those kinds of haircuts and they're not black, I know that they like black girls. I don't know if he likes black girls. That's not what I'm talking about. But the taper fade, you know what I mean, and the eyebrows. He's not fucking red-pilled. If black people are giving him like cosmetic services to send a message to POs to say that we are protecting this guy, we fuck with him. And people are like, oh, that's in Philly, we don't know about in Brooklyn. Honey, you think that information doesn't travel through these networks? What are you, like, get real. You feel me? Like, get real. Yeah, no, I definitely think that he's being taken care of in Brooklyn. That guy that I knew growing up in high school, I realized, I mean, I think I realized at the time that he had a crush on me, but I did not know how to engage with that information. But yeah, then I really realized later on. But he would go to the shooting range all the time. All the time. So I think it's important to put things in the context, like a cultural, in the context of which they exist, the cultural context. Like, it's Maryland, okay? He could have been going to the shooting range his whole life. That's something that people with money do. And people in politics. Just think about Dick Cheney. When I was a kid, Dick Cheney pew-pewed his friend in the face and said he thought it was a duck. Okay, so I just want to say that. Are there any other messages that need to be shared about, like, where's his mom? What was she talking about? Da, 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 da. I do think that she's actually, like, really upset and she's really worried. The perp walk, she was, like, really fucked up about the perp walk strength. Like, they're holding a united front, but I also think that she's not being allowed to engage to the extent that she would want to. I think that Nino and the dad are, like, not allowing her to, because it could be a really bad look for the family. The Chariot. Yo, we have 3 major arcana. This is not a fucking joke, y'all. This is a big deal. You have no idea. And the lack of trust that people have in, like, major cultural moments because of the orchestration that has happened. Like, when people are like, oh, why do people believe conspiracy theories? Because there are so many actual conspiracies that are proven to be true and real that people don't even believe. And because of pseudo events, read the book Pseudo Events. Oh God, what is his name? Daniel J. Borsten's book, Pseudo Event. The Image, A Guide to Pseudo Events in America. Illusion, illusory. Read that book, because that's the reason why the American people don't know what to believe. They don't know what's real and what's not real. 8 of Wands in reverse. They're making a martyr out of him, even though they're trying to do the opposite, because they're bumbling fools. They've lost their ability to weave these kinds of webs that they used to weave. And I'm going to keep the rest of what I have to say. I'm going to keep that for my membership on Substack, because I just feel like some of the things that I have to speak about, you know, the galactic stuff, and the deep esoteric stuff, I can't really speak about fully on here. But just know that because the veils have fallen to the degree that they have fallen, there's no unseeing it. And so they're trying to make this person look bad, but we all see, you see that he's not red-pilled. You see that he's genuine. You see that he's real. He's walking with conviction. Okay, you see that. And even if he is, like, which he's not, that's the thing, is he's not. It's just that people are so stuck in binary thinking and binary opposition. Like, grow up. Fucking grow up and mature. Evolve your intellect. So I think that that's everything. 3 of Wands in the reverse, 6 of Pentacles, and 3 of Swords. Yeah, no more lies, no more illusions. It's been dispelled. And people are about to start getting angrier and angrier because the let's say it this way, okay? The weavers of the webs that kept our ability to truly see with our true sight, capital S, okay? To truly see clearly and perceive with our full cognitive and perceptual ability. The weavers of those webs have lost their power to deceive the American people. What happens next, you know, it's anyone's game. It's anyone's game. I love you all truly and deeply. I hope that this was helpful. I hope that this was clarifying, and I will see you, I'll see you around.